Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the musical group Insane Clown Posse and their fans who refer to themselves as Juggalos? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoy this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, consider supporting me on Patreon, and check out my podcast, Bella Grande Media. I will put the relevant links for those items in the description for this video. So first I'll look at the background of the Insane Clown Posse and the Juggalos, then I'll move to my analysis. The musical group Insane Clown Posse, which is often referred to as ICP, was founded in 1989 by two professional wrestlers turned hip-hop musicians named Joseph Bruce and Joseph Utzler. They now go by the names Violent J and Shaggy 2 Dope. The name for the band came from a dream that Bruce claims he had about a clown. Their version of hip-hop is thought of as horrorcore. They are known for having a high proportion of expletives in their lyrics and putting on elaborate shows. The pair has their own record label called Psychopathic Records. The group has been financially successful. They have had 5 gold and 2 platinum albums. In other ways, they have not been successful. They've never really been taken seriously by a wide audience. In 2003, the now-defunct music magazine Blender declared ICP the worst band of all time. I could picture ICP responding by saying, "Wait, you just admitted we're a band. We'll take that as a win." Bruce and Utzler ran into some problems with the law throughout their career. In 1997, Bruce allegedly struck an audience member in Albuquerque, New Mexico, 30 times with a microphone. He was arrested for aggravated battery. In 1998, both men would be arrested for battery in connection with a fight at a Waffle House in Greenfield, Indiana. They pleaded guilty to disorderly conduct. There are several themes in the group's music. Here are a few of them. Anti-intellectualism. They believe science and scientists are bad. In one song, ICP talks about how there are many miracles that cannot be explained by science. They give examples like magnets, dirt, stars, UFOs, and giraffes. Violent J responded to criticism about the song by saying, quote, "It's a lot funner being the dumb guy because then you get to appreciate the beautiful things like all the miracles we talk about," unquote. In a way, their song Miracles does point out one miracle, that anybody would ever listen to their music. Moving on to the other themes, we see life and death, the choice between good and evil, horror, homicide, cannibalism, and dismembering bodies, tales of morality, the dark carnival mythology, which is something they promote. It's like this area where those who have died are judged by deities or quasi-deities. There's this narrative of traveling carnival spirits who invade the upper-class neighborhoods and try to punish the wealthy for crimes against the working class. The group has claimed to have a message of morality, essentially saying that people have a choice and they should choose good. This conflicts with their recurring use of lyrics related to violence, sex, and death. The group claims that they do this because everyone's talking about sex and violence. So this is a way to get the attention of their audience. The hidden message of their music is that people should follow God. Many agree this is an incredibly well-hidden message, like a message so well hidden that it's not really there at all. Bruce and Utzler have said that they are not sure that God exists, but they like to believe there is something after death. The dark and violent themes of their music, as well as a whole host of aesthetics, narratives, and symbols, have attracted a fan base. Certain enthusiastic fans identify themselves as Juggalos. So now moving on to a description of the Juggalos. There may be as many as 1 million Juggalos in the world. That has become kind of a subculture. Many are younger, white, working class, and feel like outcasts. Homelessness, drug use, criminality, and a low level of education are also overrepresented in this population. They often consider themselves to be part of a unified Juggalo family. They follow the teachings or whatever is going on with ICP. For example, they often know of the group's work, lyrics to popular songs. They attend performances and things like that. There are a number of behaviors and traditions evident in the Juggalo subculture. like characteristics that define or identify them. Here are a few. Listening to ICP and other similar types of music, having an affinity for a particular soda called Faygo. They like both drinking and spraying the beverage. Fascination with a logo of psychopathic records known as the Hatchet Man. This logo might appear on various items they wear like jewelry and baseball caps. They also wear general hatchet symbols. Really anything axe related is popular with this group. Wearing paint on their face so they look like a mischievous, deranged, or evil clown. Often they prefer black and white paints for this purpose. Yelling the phrase, whoop, whoop. Expressing an interest in homicide, particularly those committed with an edged weapon. Wearing their hair in a spider-like style. And displaying this so-called wicked clown gesture using their hands. Not surprisingly, some juggalos have taken the antisocial and destructive themes too far and entered the world of criminality. An FBI report in 2011 indicated that the juggalos were a loosely organized hybrid gang. ICP sued the FBI in an effort to remove the gang designation, but eventually withdrew the lawsuit. They filed another lawsuit in 2014 against the FBI. They were not successful. Juggalo-related gangs often consist of Caucasian males who range in age from 16 to 26. Juggalos are officially considered a gang in the states of Arizona, California, Pennsylvania, and Utah. Juggalo-related crime has been documented in at least 20 other states. Juggalo criminal groups have engaged in a number of different crimes like assault, robbery, theft, vandalism, homicide, and the possession and sale of drugs. Even though Juggalo-related offenders are typically disorganized, some of the groups have become more sophisticated over the last few years. The Juggalo subculture can be thought of as divided into two groups, the music fans and the criminal street gang. The music fans are generally not considered dangerous. The criminal street gang, however, certainly is. This group tends to view their membership in the Juggalo community as a lifestyle that has been forced upon them by society. So not something they chose, like they're not interested in ICP necessarily, but they were pushed into it. One of the advantages that Juggalos have over other gangs is they can move from area to area and be supported by other Juggalo gang members. Again, there's this family mentality. They tend to travel frequently to escape law enforcement. They generally have a more transient lifestyle than members of other gangs. Juggalo gangs have a tendency toward extreme violence. They often used edged weapons, including axes and machetes. Often their attacks don't seem to follow any rhyme or reason. It's like they just randomly attack people. Now, moving away from the criminal element and looking at the music fans, this part of the subculture engages in a number of activities, including those that could be characterized as pro-social, like donating to charity. There's an annual event that is hosted by Psychopathic Records called the Gathering of the Juggalos. It features a number of activities like concerts, games, autograph sessions, and seminars over the course of several days. The festival has averaged about 10,000 attendees per year. Now moving to my analysis, starting with the Insane Clown Posse. I think what happened with this band, if one wants to think of them as a band, is that they really don't have much in the way of traditional songwriting or musical talent, but they are willing to promote an anti-science message, use a lot of expletives, and build extravagant and detailed sets for their live performances. They were able to highly engage a small number of people, the Juggalos. ICP has always wanted traditional success. They wanted to be a mainstream group that was recognized and respected, but they were never able to achieve this goal. Desperate for attention and limited in their abilities, they just kept engaging in more extreme behavior. This is one thing they knew how to do. They were hoping they could fake their way to success. In the end, their real contribution is in demonstrating how gullible and impressionable certain members of the population can be, how some people will follow any form of leadership simply to be identified as a member of a group, just to belong to something, just to belong to anything. This brings me to the Juggalos. What are the personality characteristics of the Juggalos? Is there a typical profile? When I conceptualize personality, I often use the 5-factor model. I remember the 5 factors through the acronym OCEAN: openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Juggalos tend to be low in openness to experience. They are not intellectually curious, but one could make an argument that they are invested heavily in fantasy. We see low conscientiousness. They tend to be impulsive and have a compromised work ethic. They have mid-range to above-average extroversion. They're assertive and sensation-seeking. Mid-range to low agreeableness. There's not a lot of altruism. And we see high neuroticism. They tend to be angry and have difficulty resisting temptation. There's quite a bit of variation in terms of the beliefs of the Juggalos. They're not really subscribing to one particular belief system. They typically cannot articulate an overarching ideology. It's almost like the only thing they really know is that they like the music of ICP, they have a commitment to the specific symbolism of that group, and they like the counterculture feel of the Juggalos. Overrepresented mental health symptoms would include those related to substance use, depression, and personality pathology, in particular cluster B. So we see a lot of antisocial, narcissistic, borderline, and histrionic features. What about the idea that ICP is really trying to promote a good message by talking about murdering people, dismembering bodies, and other antisocial endeavors? I don't buy this argument for a second. This is like crashing cars to promote highway safety or shoplifting to improve store security. ICP has a message that deviates from the norms of society by quite a bit. It is unusual to paint one's face like a clown and run around with a hatchet. There's no way to twist that into some esoteric pro-social message. If they really believe they can encourage people to be pro-social by promoting their bizarre and macabre themes, they have seriously overestimated the capabilities of their fans to pick up on the nuances of their musical creations. I think what happened to far too many individuals who identify as Juggalos is that they were attracted to the dark and destructive themes in the music. There is no positive side trying to break through. They like the idea of being nonconformist, rebels against society. Identifying as a Juggalo is their way of resisting a society that doesn't understand them, doesn't care for them, a society where they do not fit in. Rather than trying to adapt to society's norms, they embrace their outcast reputation and associate with other people who find themselves in a similar situation. I really don't think this is a case where the name Juggalo has been hijacked by a small subset of criminals. Rather, I think this is a case where the antisocial message of ICP has been adopted by people with antisocial tendencies. When a musical group attracts a fan base through destructive imagery, they can't be surprised and indignant when criminal elements self-select into that group. How else would something like this happen? Is there this conspiracy where gang members decide to identify themselves as Juggalos to jeopardize the good reputation of ICP? This seems unlikely. If the insane clown posse really believes that they are the victim of some injustice because a subset of Juggalos have formed into gangs, perhaps they need to rename the band Gullible Clown Posse. Those are my thoughts on the insane clown posse and the Juggalos. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be more pro-social than a posse of insane clowns. Thanks for watching.